Now I know what you're thinking, J-Dub Life, is this a serious video? Yes, this is a serious video. But don't worry, you won't get very many of these. Now, the reason I'm doing this video is because recently there's been not necessarily a war, but a very strong debate among the ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, particularly some of the more popular YouTube channels, over if Freemasons are tied to the Jehovah's Witness organization. And there's definitely been some fuel added to those arguments, and I wanted to discuss some of it. Listen, I'm not sure why certain YouTubers are pulling jabs at each other, but in all honesty, we should be working together to help those still in to get the help they need and wake up from indoctrination. So let's go ahead and get into it, and I'm not going to go over everything that was discussed in Kim and Mikey's video, but I will try to get over the bigger topics. Now, before I actually start the video, I will say this document was not created to prove that there is no connection between Watchtower and Freemasonry, or discredit Kim and Mikey, whom they do fantastic work. They have some really good videos. But merely this video is just to point out the mistakes and illogical errors in an effort to help better educate others about the research involved.
Watchtower and Freemason connection.
Are you taking a dig at the regressive elder again?
Well, of course. You know what? I just gotta ask. Is it piss poor research? Or is it dumbassery? Or is it a deflection so that others will not research and make connections?
Okay, so the video almost immediately starts off with low blow remarks toward Lord Evans. Now, there's two issues with this. Number one, it's a turnoff for those who appreciate all Lloyd has done, and it makes them less willing to actually listen to the rest of the video. And two, stupid two, insulting those who don't agree with your position reveals weakness in your position, not strength. And of course, Kim and Mikey, they don't need to support Lord Evans or agree with his mythology, but bringing personal attacks into the discussion does not help Kim and Mikey's credibility. And since the Freemason connection is not taken seriously by many, it would do well to stick with the facts, in my opinion.
Make connections. It's almost like some information is being protected.
Well, I find it interesting that a website that used to have the Freemason connection after the regressive elders video took down all that information.
Yeah, exactly.
I find that interesting.
Yeah.
Kim and Mikey suggest that since the information Lloyd Evan points out was removed from the website it originally came from after the released video, some information is being protected. Now, if the powers that be Masons, Templars, whatever, are as powerful as people claim, why was that information up on the website in the first place? Wouldn't such secret societies go to great pains to make sure information regarding the secrets of their practices is removed, and wouldn't let the people who put it up be removed as well?
This is Lauren Alfred Pete Gipp. Now, like I said, I didn't know why this had popped up, but let me read the first paragraph of his obituary. And I'm going to put the link down below to this. Lauren Alfred Pete Gipp. And it's interesting because they have a flag here.
Mm-hmm.
But
American
we know
flag.
he was a Jehovah's Witness when he died. Lauren Alfred Pete Gipp, 99, of Fort Myers, Florida, formerly of Naples, Florida, and Platteville, Wisconsin, passed away suddenly at Lee Health Park on December 10, 2018. A memorial service will be held Saturday, December 22nd, 2018 at 3:30 p.m. at the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses in Fort Myers, Florida. So, he's having a Kingdom Hall funeral.
But not only that, on December 22nd. Isn't that like something to do with the winter solstice? The sun dying? There might be a connection.
Okay, Kim and Mikey begin discussing Lauren Alfred Pete Gibb's obituary. Kim questions why there is a flag icon next to his obituary if he's one of Jehovah's Witnesses, but then later answers her own question by saying he is former military. Many surviving relatives are listed in the obituary, and we have no way of knowing how many of them are actually Jehovah's Witnesses. And if some are, many of them are not, that easily explains the wording of the obituary and the flag. Mikey says that his burial's on December 22nd. That coincides with the winter solstice, but that is factually incorrect. The winter solstice is December 21st, not 22nd. Though it is unusual that they waited 12 days to bury Mr. Gipp. I think he died on December 10th. Typically, the dead are buried within 7 days, though it is sometimes it's delayed if family has to come from far away. Also, to kind of further go along with the whole obituary, Kim finds it odd that so much of his past history that conflicts with the teachings of Jehovah's Witnesses is included in his obituary. But again, that's easily explained if some of the surviving relatives, such as children, were not Jehovah's Witnesses and wanted that information included in the obituary. They may have agreed to a Kingdom Hall funeral service. Mr. Gipp was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, but that doesn't mean they would only let witness relatives write the obituary.
Okay, attachments that argument this document, and he's got these attachments, and all of this is in the zip file. Google Maps pin for Temple Farms. It says go to the https://maps.google.co.uk and search for Temple Farm Development. Now, as you can see from the picture, the precise pin chosen by Temple Farm Developments, part of the planning process, is for a specific building. You see that little building that's circled in yellow?
Now you have to understand, from Watchtower's perspective, the religious order, this becomes a really sacred piece of ground.
Yeah, exactly.
It's sacred to them. But to the stupid rank and file, this means nothing. This just means, oh, look, Jehovah's blessing the organization.
Yeah. Why is this specific building chosen for the map pin? It lines up perfectly with an old map from 1700s. This map can be viewed in person via the English National Archives. And he's got the web page. And this is the old map. And as you can see right over there where it says Old Orders, see that little red dot? That's the area we're going to be talking about. Here is the Watchtower design plan. And he's attached the full PDF. And this is, what they're planning on building or have built. Yeah. Here's the old map with the Watchtower planning map overlaid. Can you see it? So you see the building that had the map pin on Google. You see it overlaid. You can see it circled. Note how the old road aligns perfectly. So Watchtower's using this same old road. Old road aligns perfectly, and at the old orders, the Templar religious orders, building lines up perfectly with the exact building where Watchtower set the Google Map pin.
The PDF Kim is reading incorrectly states that Temple Farm Development choose the location of the pin on Google Maps. The property owner has no control over where the pin is placed on Google Maps. Google gets the coordinates for each pin from postal data it receives from the country's postal service. Watchtower had no say over where the pin is placed. It's based on the geocoding of the address provided to Google. Later on, Kim shows an image of the prior building at the address where Temple Farm Buildings number 33 now stands. And this explains why the pin is in the location on Google Maps. Since a prior structure existed there, that's where the coordinates of the address would be. Just because Temple Farms is now a more sprawling complex wouldn't change the geo-coordinates of the address. That's simply not how the postal system works. The coordinates would remain the same unless the address has changed. And also, it's not a surprise that Watchtower would put a building on the previous location. That just makes logistical sense because power, water, sewer would already be nearby and the ground would already be graded from the old building. A former RBC planner told me, when we were on the RBC A&E, we always looked to building on existing developments. The money saved in earthwork and utilities and zoning was huge. Oh, and just another quick ad, as to the name Temple Farm, well, there are many things in the area named Temple, including Temple Grove Park, a public park not owned by the Watchtower. And Watchtower often names its properties after the location they're in. For instance, there's a Temple Hills congregation in Temple Hills, Maryland, USA. And also keep in mind that in Europe, Watchtower had no problem buying churches and converting them into kingdom halls, so it's not surprising they would have no issues buying an old Masonic property either.
The Poor Knights of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, or Templar Knights. Now we know that the Bible students used to have their meetings in these
Freemason
lodges,
temples.
these temples, Freemasonry, Oddfellows Hall, all of these. Was it because of their reverence for Solomon's temple? Because we know a lot of these temples and lodges are designed just like Solomon's temple. Because we know, Freemasonry goes all the way back to, Solomon's temple, and they claim that's where they got their beginning.
Yeah, and the thing is, you may not look at the outside of a Freemason building. You may just see a square, but on the inside, you're going to see like black and white checkered tiled floors.
Pyramids.
The black and white checkered floor that I just referred to is very readily seen inside of Watchtower's literature when they show Jesus in the temple, cleansing the temple. There's a black and white checkered floor.
After stating the Mason temples have black and white checkered floors, Mikey holds up The Greatest Man Who Ever Lived book, chapter 103, and shows the picture where Jesus is overturning the tables of the money changers in a temple courtyard. He points out the black and white checkered tile, stating that it's the Mason symbol. And he is correct that the Masons do in fact use black and white checkered tile as a symbol for duality. However, according to an image from Museum of Israel in the Herodic Temple, second temple built post-Babylonian exile that existed in the 1st century, the courtyard was in fact tiled in a checkerboard fashion. So Watchtower's depiction of the courtyard is simply a historical fact of how the courtyard would have appeared in the 1st century.
Now, in some of the old literature, like Rutherford's Rainbow Collection, there's a lot of symbols with the two pillars. Look up the two pillars.
So Kim brings up Rutherford's Rainbow Collection. It's a book from 1930s to 1940s, noting how they often depict the two pillars, which is a Mason symbol. While it's true that the two pillars are used in Mason symbology, it's also a scriptural reference. 1 Kings 7:21, and the Adventist faith from which Russell drew many of his teachings and Watchtower was born also uses the two pillars symbolically.
Headquarters only has a single sign at the entranceway. The JW.org logo has in recent years become like an emblem of veneration, similar to how a religious cross symbol is venerated.
Exactly.
And here on the very spot where once stood a Templar double cross is a double monument featuring the new emblem, JW.org. This also reminds us of the double cross on the official Templar emblem already noted above. Then he gets into the blue color. Now we know many organizations have the blue background. Scientology, some of their main buildings are blue. CERN, they have a blue background and it's all connected, but it looks like 3 6s all connected together. And then the UN, theirs is blue. So, okay, it may or may not be of significance that the JW.org emblem is blue in color. In his Encyclopedia of Freemasonry, English edition, Albert Mackey comments under the topic of blue. This is emphatically the color of Freemasonry. He further adds, in the degree of Grand Master of all symbolic lodges, the blue and yellow, which are its appropriate colors, are said to refer to the appearance of Jehovah to Moses on Mount Sinai in clouds of azure blue. The blue in this degree is therefore a symbol of heaven, the seat of our celestial tabernacle. And then he's got a link to the reference on Google Book.
Here, the PDF Kim reads from states that Temple Farms was given to a knight that was not a Templar. So Watchtower just kept the name Temple Farm from the historical name. Kim points also that Watchtower still uses the same road to access Temple Farm that was used in the past when it was a Templar property. But it makes logical and logistical sense that Watchtower would use the pre-existing road. I mean, why build a new road to access the property? Another interesting connection to the double cross Mason symbol is made because Watchtower put up two JW org logo signs at Temple Farm, one on each side of the property. The PDF Kim's reading from claims that no other property of Watchtower uses two logos, including Warwick. That may be true, but that does not equate using two logos with a double cross symbol. In fact, the official crest of Hungary uses both the cross and crown symbol and the double cross symbol. So does that mean the entire country is part of the Mason? Kim talks about the blue color being of significance and lists off a few organizations with the blue logo: Scientology, CERN, United Nations. But if you do a search on Google Images for blue logos, you'll see hundreds of companies with blue logos. Facebook, Twitter, Microsoft, Animal Planet. So does that mean all of those companies are part of the Masonic as well? And a little bit on, Kim reads from the document that blue and yellow are said to refer to the appearance of Jehovah to Moses on Mount Sinai. But there's no yellow in the JW.org logo or the Watchtower logo, etc. And Mikey then admits that Watchtower doesn't use yellow in anything of significance. I also want to point out, Mikey's wearing a dark blue shirt. So could he be a Mason? We don't know.
Now, when Watchtower started plastering this blue sign over all their kingdom halls, I recognized immediately what they were doing. They're assigning that kingdom hall as a blue lodge. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, "Oh no, that's just a blue sign, yada yada yada." But if you don't know what the Masons write about the Blue Lodge, you're never going to see the connection. And when I read some of this, hopefully you will recognize the connection in how it pertains to you as a Jehovah's Witness or even a former Jehovah's Witness. The entered apprentice degree. First of the 3 degrees of Blue Lodge Masonry is a preliminary degree intended to prepare the candidate for a higher and fuller instructions of the succeeding degrees. Now, when you enter as a Jehovah's Witness, you're just a rank and file.
You're just an unbaptized publisher.
That's right. Then you become, a baptized publisher. Then you might become, a regular pioneer. Then you might become a ministerial servant, elder. Then you might become a circuit overseer. You see, it's just the apprentice. It's just the beginning.
Same levels as Freemasonry. And the thing is the lower levels, rank and file, doesn't know the secrets of the higher level.
Right.
And whether it's Watchtower, Freemasonry, and even, Scientology, because the rank and file that starts in Scientology doesn't know that when you get up here to the top, you realize that it's all about aliens.
Yeah.
Mikey claims Watchtower was assigning Kingdom Halls as blue lodges when they put the blue JW org logo on them. But why did they wait until recently to do that if their roots are Mason? Why weren't they using a blue Watchtower logo for the 115 years before the JW org came into existence in 1999? Watchtower logo has never been blue either, so, why not? Kim and Mikey compare the degrees of Freemasonry to the levels of hierarchy in Jehovah's Witnesses, which is true, but that same kind of hierarchy exists in every corporation and pretty much every other organization in the world. Are they all Masonic? Kim and Mikey talk about the information the lower levels don't get, such as Elder's Book, Pioneer's Book. And that's true, they don't get that information, but Watchtower does hide information from the rank and file, but again, pretty much all organizations do that. Managers always know more than the lower level workers. District managers have knowledge managers don't. VPs have knowledge district managers don't. Every corporation in America would be considered part of the Masons then. So, of course, you can't argue that it's not good to hide such information for rank and file Jehovah's Witnesses, but that's not enough evidence that it's connected to Masons.
Never knew that. I found the truth. New light. It's the control mechanism. I mean, if you can't see this, You gotta be a complete moron.
If you can't see this, you gotta be a complete moron. Here, Mikey uses a logical fallacy, attacking the person rather than an argument against their perspective. Having to resort to such logical fallacy only demonstrate the weakness of your position, not its strength.
And I'm going to read right from here. The floral display. I'm going to go down to the second paragraph underneath that subheading. At the foot of the casket was placed a broken pillar of flowers, fittingly representing that dear body which, like the Lord's body, had been broken in the service of the brethren, while at the head was a magnificent floral cross and crown, the cross symbolizing his share in the death of Christ, and the crown symbolizing the crown of glory, which we believe he now wears with our dear Lord in heaven. Now, do you see the story, the pile of manure that they're giving the rank and file? Because they believe they don't know, they don't deserve to know the truth about these symbols.
Okay, Kim and Mikey claim that because Russell had a broken pillar of flowers at his funeral, which is a symbol used in Freemasonry, that he was a Mason, and that means Jehovah's Witnesses have ties to Freemason. However, as with other symbols, the broken pillar and broken column symbols are not just used by Freemasons. Broken pillars usually symbolize a good, long life, but when they are intentionally sculpted to appear broken or unfinished, it means a life has been cut short, often used to mark the graves of young people or the graves of murder victims. Also, Russell was only 64 when he died, and his death was unexpected. His father lived to be 89. As Kim and Mikey also discussed in the video, some even believe Russell was murdered because his death came as a surprise. Well, I think I got most of my point across. Like I said, I have nothing against Kim and Mikey, but I just wanted to point out some of the facts. Heck, I probably got something wrong. I mean, we all tried our best to get accurate facts, but if we have a purpose, such as helping one seek the real truth about the witnesses, we really need to be careful with what we present and not insinuate things that you aren't really sure about, to get a fire burning in people's hearts. And everything we hear isn't always true, but it definitely takes research to find out. But this video was very long, and JW Live doesn't like long videos, so I apologize. But we have a very special video coming up soon. It's a lost interview with Tony Moore, so it's going to be exciting. Once again, thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe and send me tacos, please. Bye.